It's 2022 and the DCEU has finally entered the TV game. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris. Welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be giving you my spoiler breakdown or thoughts on the first 3 episodes of Peacemaker, the new DC show that is exclusively streaming on HBO Max. It's written and directed by James Gunn, who is also known for doing the Suicide Squad. This show is basically a sequel to the Suicide Squad following Peacemaker. So if you have not seen the first 3 episodes, make sure to leave a like, go watch the episodes, then come back and hear my spoiler thoughts. And before I give you guys my thoughts on these episodes, make sure to hit that like button, comment your thoughts on the first 3 episodes of Peacemaker down below, and make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future reviews, rankings, all that good stuff. But spoilers for the episodes in 3, 2, 1. So going into the Peacemaker show, I was skeptical because I didn't know if it was going to be a CW type show, an MCU type show, or its own new thing. And I'm happy to say that this stands out amongst the crowd when it comes to superhero TV shows, and it's a damn fun time. I enjoyed every single episode thoroughly. It has set up where the show is headed. John Cena's Peacemaker, who I've got right back here in Funko Pop form, was the standout character in the Suicide Squad movie, so I think it's fitting that he actually gets to continue on the show. I actually saw James Gunn in an interview say that out of all the characters in the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker's the one who went through the least amount of change, so it's really necessary for him to get this show to progress his character, and you definitely see progression. I mean, he has a newfound almost appreciation for life. He's trying to find a new sense to his life and his real purpose. He kind of is questioning his own morals, especially his own catchphrase regarding peace at any cost. The first episode had me locked in from the start, as it was hilarious. Like, there's an exchange that Peacemaker has with the janitor at the hospital that he's staying at, and there were some really hilarious bits there, and that quippy humor did not stop through all 3 episodes. That's something James Gunn is good at, is writing very comical dialogue, and I think that's very present here, especially with that janitor. As that first episode progresses and Peacemaker gets out of the hospital, he gets approached by some agents who are working for Waller, and basically say, like, hey man, if you want to not go back to prison, you need to work for us and kill these people for us as a part of Operation Butterfly. So we don't really know what the hell that means. He just has to kill the butterflies. This very vague information that we get early on in the episode. And then we get some team building moments. We see all these characters kind of go out and see how they have their own lives with their romantic interests or whoever it may be. Towards the end of this episode is when things get really crazy though. We see Peacemaker with this girl after they have made love, and she turns out to be one of the butterflies, and it is insane. It's a really well shot scene. He puts on a record, he's dancing and singing, and then this girl picks up a knife behind him and starts to approach him. And then they have this really well choreographed fight scene, which again is a testament to how great the action is in this show. That's one of many action scenes that we've got so far. He ends up jumping out of the window, and they have this long sequence in the parking lot that culminates with him getting his new helmet and sonic booming her, where she basically dissipates into nothing. It's grotesque as hell, and I'm here for it, because the Suicide Squad was a bloody fun time, and I think Peacemaker's kind of taking a lot of the same vibes from that movie and inserting them into the show, which is what I was worried about, because with the TV medium, you never know if they're going to fully commit to that gruesome nature that you can put on the big screen, but they really went for it here. The first episode also introduces us to Peacemaker's dad, who is a total a-hole, and we'll talk more about him in episode 2. The first episode, Peacemaker, very solid start to the show. Not much complaints from me. It was well paced. It set up the stakes of the show, the role Peacemaker's going to be playing, and it was hilarious. But moving on to episode 2, this episode starts right where we left off in the first one, as Peacemaker's on the run from the cops who have surrounded this apartment building. And again, it's a testament to how well shot this is. It feels very cinematic to me, just like if we got a sequel to the Suicide Squad movie. One of the most hilarious bits in this episode was how he kept having to jump from balcony to balcony and just putting himself through the ringer and having an unnecessary amount of pain. I thought it was really funny how his team that was trying to rescue him in the car kept looking up at him every time he would jump. And Peacemaker's dad is featured a little bit more in this episode, as he's actually framed for the mayhem that Peacemaker is responsible for. So now Peacemaker's dad is back in prison, and he's like this white supremacist leader of the prisoners. They're all bowing down to him, calling him White Dragon, so that's definitely going to come into play later, and it's very sketchy. I bet Peacemaker's going to have to end up fighting his dad, though. We also get more of this vigilante character, who I don't really know how I feel about him. I think he's an alright side character. The humor does miss for me for him for the most part, but they're definitely setting him up to have a bigger role as the show progresses, so I'm fine with it for now. He's just kind of there, and he's Peacemaker's old buddy. I think the craziest reveal so far in the show is that Amanda Waller is actually in an episode. She's on a Zoom call with her daughter, and that's the big reveal, is this extra teammate Leota, who no one really knew how she got to be on this team anyway, is Amanda Waller's daughter, and Waller's kind of trying to shoehorn her into this whole situation and make her do something she doesn't really feel comfortable with, because she has a wife and kids at home, so she doesn't really want this life. But it's going to be interesting. I think we're going to get to see Viola Davis again down the road, whether that's just on a Zoom call or in person, I don't know, but it's very cool that they're keeping it kind of within the canon of the Suicide Squad movie. Episode 2 continued right where the first left off. Didn't really miss a beat in my opinion. It felt like one continuation of a long movie. And then moving on to episode 3, another great episode. I was not let down with this one at all. They actually go on a mission in this episode to take out a senator who's believed to be a butterfly, and then we find out his whole family's butterflies, his wife, his daughter, and his son. So Peacemaker has them in his sights. He's got a sniper on them, and he's supposed to take them out as a part of the mission. However, he starts to freak out and shake, and he's really having that internal conflict that I wanted to see tackled in this show, and it's portrayed here brilliantly as he starts to freak out. He doesn't want to pull the trigger, even though he's such a killing machine his whole life. He's finally starting to see things through a different lens and understand and have empathy for other people, even though he's supposed to do a certain job. It might not be the right thing. But then, of course, Vigilante sneaks up on the scene and takes out 3 of the 4 people with ease, which I don't really know what this guy's deal is. He has some clear mental issues going on. We're probably going to get a flashback on his character later on, a lot like how they do with certain characters in Daredevil, where you get about a 20-minute flashback to really understand why this character is the way they are. I think in like episode 5 or 6, we'll probably get that flashback for Vigilante. The head senator survives and starts to torture Vigilante because, again, Peacemaker and company get captured. We see Judo Master at work, who is a little punk. I just want to flick him like a little fly, and I think we're going to get to see Peacemaker kick his ass later. I think one of the underrated moments in this episode is when Economos, who is like the tech guy who's behind the scenes in the van, actually wrecks Judo Master's car before he can escape and reveal information to other people and knocks him out, and then he's just sitting there dancing. It was a funny moment. It reminded me of when Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill's characters in 21 Jump Street actually get the drug dealers at first. It was just a funny moment. And Peacemaker's relationship with Amelia Harcourt is definitely going to be expanded on more. I think that they could end up together at the end of the show. It's hard to tell. He definitely has a thing for her, and their relationship is growing with each episode. So at the end of this episode, Peacemaker ends up saying, "Peace out, mother," and he shoots the senator in the head, killing him. And then this weird butterfly creature crawls out of the guy's head. And then we get a shot from inside the van of a monitor showing where all of the suspected butterflies are. And it's basically an infestation across the globe, taking this show to the next level because, again, this is a globe-spanning event now. They're going to have to bring in some help. I don't know how Peacemaker's going to be able to do this all on his own. I really don't. So I think there's now 5 episodes left in the show. We got a 3-episode premiere. And moving forward, we've established the stakes of the show. This is now a global event. Peacemaker's going through his own moral conflict. There's definitely something wrong in the head with Vigilante. And the team is sort of in shambles, I would say, because this has now shattered them. Moving forward, we're going to see how the teamwork goes. Amanda Waller's role with her daughter is interesting. So there's so many pieces of the puzzle that we're going to get to see unfold moving forward. And through 3 episodes, this show has done a damn good job of keeping me invested, engaged, and interested to come back on a weekly basis as the show is now set up. That's something that a lot of TV shows nowadays lack, is actually setting up the actual plot and what the point of the show is. The first 3 episodes did a damn fine job of doing that. There's a lot of underlying threats. Peacemaker's dad's gonna have a big role moving forward, but the overall tone of the show is just damn funny. It's dark as hell at times, and it's something that I'm a fan of. It reminds me kind of like The Boys. It's not as hardcore as The Boys when it comes to the violence or the themes, but James Gunn just has this way of mixing like a lighthearted comedic tone with really dark aspects as well, and he's kind of the king of doing that because that's exactly how I view the Suicide Squad. And John Cena owns this role. I could see him being a megastar in a few years, a lot like The Rock if he can just get the right roles, and I think Peacemaker is his money-making role. But through 3 episodes, I'm fully invested and cannot wait to talk about episode 4 when we get it next Thursday. But that's going to do it for my spoiler talk, kind of just giving you guys my honest thoughts on Peacemaker so far. I'm a fan of the show, 2 thumbs up so far. What do you guys think though? Let me know in the comments down below what you think of the first 3 episodes of Peacemaker. Will you be tuning in on a weekly basis, or are you going to wait till it's all out to binge it? I want to talk about that in the comments down below. But thank you guys so much for watching. I expect more Peacemaker coverage as the show progresses, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. It's also worth noting that every episode had a post-credits scene that was like a quick little quippy 10 to 15 second scene that was a funny callback to something earlier in the episode, and I think I have to give hats off to James Gunn for that because the MCU shows don't really have post-credit scenes. I like that every single episode has one so far.